Let me go ahead and apologize. I don't have the Hail to the Chief music that I should.
Oh.
As the senator has entered the building.
Oh, man.
The newly elected town councilman. Now, but before we get into the sports show, good morning, guys. It's 115 degrees outside. I'm not happy about it. The low tonight and the high tomorrow is about 8 degrees apart, which I like a lot.
We're good.
It's supposed to be down in mid-50s tonight and low mid-60s tomorrow, so I'm good with that. So let me ask you a question because I don't understand.
Okay.
And I was told a long time ago not to run for an office unless I wanted to serve. So that's why I haven't run for office.
I got you.
So there were one term was a completion term.
Yes.
Okay, that finished out a term.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that'll run 2 years?
It will.
Okay. And then there were 3 elected on council. Is it just the top vote getter gets 4 years?
Top 2.
Top 2 get 4 years.
Right, and then the third gets a 2-year term.
A 2-year term.
So that way there's always 3 up, 2 off, or 2 still on.
Mm-hmm.
And in a year like this year, in some municipalities, you have the special election for the unexpired term because what that means is a 4-year vote getter had to leave or did leave for whatever reason, okay? So, but, yeah, there was a lot of overall in the county there wasn't a lot of voting, but, you know, this is one of the ones that was a little above average for our municipality.
8% was our turnout.
So, well, it's a little above average.
Yeah.
From what it normally
but
is.
Very few elections were really held. Just the local municipalities are the only ones that were.
That was it. You know, and in the other states, you had governors that were elected, and they're off-cycle years or whatever. But
midterm elections is how they like to refer. to it.
Next year will be a 4-year, and then the 2 years after that will be a midterm. We'll be in between that, so we're every 2 years, municipality-wise for voting.
Good. Yep. Good. All right, so we got that cleared up, and then I think I'm pretty sure that I'll like just going down occasionally and watching what happens instead of being in the fray.
You're talking about with the
council member.
like local? Yeah, so it's interesting because like in 2009 I ran and was fortunate enough to get on then, and that was Todd Herms, our town manager, been in for a little over a year, and some things were starting to develop. Apple had already made presence known, things like that. But to watch the town evolve for the opportunities and location, anytime you put connective roads in, it's just like in relationships or in your sports team, right? You start putting connectivity in, then people are seeking opportunities, right? And, I think, the one thing that's so neat about where we live is it is one of the fewest places in the continental U.S., the most least likely for a natural disaster to occur or to cause any issues, right? So that's very attractive to maybe, larger data centers or, just technology companies in general.
Businesses that need to make long-term commitments and invest dollars.
In their infrastructure, right?
That's right.
So they don't have – it's not put it at risk. When you build in a place – and, of course, not all of California, but they're known for, like, earthquakes and potential issues.
Mudslides.
Just crazy stuff.
Yep.
So, looking on the East Coast – and, again, I'm not speaking for Apple or anybody. I'm just giving examples, right? That, you try to find those locations. And what's interesting is basically our entire state, with the exception of being right up on the coast, there's really not a
even
lot
that when you start talking about Raleigh and the Triangle area, there's tons and tons of business out there.
I was there Monday night visiting a good friend of mine and his some clients and spent the afternoon and evening with them, and Fuquay Varina and the lower Apex side. My family is from that Research Triangle, Mebane area. So I remember Pittsburgh, Carrboro, all these riding around these little small 2-lane roads. Just crazy stuff. Now, it's quicker to go to the south side of Raleigh going on 420, 60. Oh, shoot, God, it's too early. But anyway, going in, through that way and not going all the way up over top like it used to be. I mean, just the connectivity is so much better. So, it's just, I don't know. It gave me a lot of time to think about the Panthers. Even though I'm not a Panthers fan, but it gave me a lot of time riding list of Christmas music. Thinking about the Panthers.
Yeah, we turned that on last night. Oh, and let me announce this. Let me brag just a little bit here. Don't do it a lot, but we went to the club last night.
Oh, nice.
And it was trivia night. We've never played trivia.
Oh,
so you play trivia, and it's you do it. You scan on a QR code on your phone, and you do it off your phone. 57 questions. There were 24 teams. It could be your whole table, whatever you want it to be. Broke it into 4 segments. Okay, and then they gave a prize.
All right.
Segment 1, boom, baby.
Did you nail it?
Boom. Segment 2, boom, baby. Nailed it. Segment 3, I had to have dessert. And they let us fall. Addison and my wife let us fall to 3rd place in segment 3. Okay?
Because you had to have some ice cream.
I had to have dessert.
You had to have some ice cream.
We had peach cobbler. Peach cobbler with ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, you
okay,
have to do that.
So I came back. We pulled it together.
And?
We won the 4th segment overall, baby. Overall.
I love it.
We won a gift certificate for 2 buffets, on Wednesday night. And the other gift certificate was free appetizer, in the restaurant.
Right.
And then the other prize was 2 more free buffets. So when it was over, when Jackie came to give us our thing, she said, "Let me just have you check it." She said, "I'll go ahead and take care of that tonight." But I was crushed because I wanted to win it.
They're so fun.
We were against. Yes, I do brag a lot. Thank you very much, and good morning to you too. Okay. But yeah, I did.
Oh God.
We one of the teams we competed against was Team Ford, which was Sammy, principal was up there, and some other folks.
Yeah.
And of course, when they announced the first segment winner, the Ford family's in first place. I'm like, yeah, baby, right here, all night long.
Sammy's a good dude.
Great guy. I bet he's a great principal.
My first year out of college, I graduated in the middle of the year, and I got talked to Mr. Barger, who was the superintendent at that time, and talked to Alan Biggerstaff, who was the principal at Fred C. Ford. I said, I really don't want to go back to Burke County. That's where I'm from. My dad does teach out here, but I kind of like to, maybe just try to get in. I don't think there's any teaching jobs available, maybe just sub or something. He's like, oh yeah. He said, by the way, you're coaching basketball and baseball too.
What year was that?
I said it was spring of 96. I was like, holy cow. So anyway, we're out there. Well, they designate me for assignment, like a 3-month, no, that's not right, 9 weeks of teaching advanced level math down at the 8th grade. It was like basically algebra 3 for those, like Sammy's sister, Samia, she's older, was one of the students in that class. So I've known him since he was probably 8, but the point being, a lot of relationships over time, a lot of really good people. Very fortunate to watch a lot of the young people in this area grow up and come on, just go on to do great things. And he's one of those dudes. I mean, he is. Yeah, he's been consistent his whole.
Yeah.
And he's a
straight up
Fred T. Ford lifer.
Straight up.
And that's a great thing in a community school.
Yeah. Chad, good morning. Junior, good morning. Cannon Page, I didn't talk to you this morning. She said, "Watch out. I love me some Burke County."
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be a resident of Burke County.
Oh, absolutely.
Bought some land.
Let me tell you something.
And she's a resident now.
And to be very clear, Cannon, it wasn't that I didn't ever want to go back to, the East Burke, Freedom, Burke County, where the East Burke area grew up in.
The age group and going back.
Right. What I want to do is try to go out and, try to do things, get established, in another area. So if I ever did go back, it brought back credibility instead of just, growing up there and playing ball there, right? And that never materialized, and I really never got interested in it after being here a few years. So, but it's a great place. There's
if you're local, Thursday nights at Brick Tree Brewing down in Lincoln.
Yep.
They have trivia every Thursday night.
Well, there you go.
And you win a $25 gift certificate. And they give you the big check. They give you the big check where you can take a picture. Everybody gather around it with the big check.
Well, I'll be doing a show down there on trivia night.
Well, they would have other stuff that they're busy with, but that's okay. Something else I was going to tell you. Got to think. I'm trying to remember everything that's
all
going on.
All the football stuff going on tonight. A lot of high school stuff, right?
Yeah, and a lot of schools that did not move.
Yeah, Bunker Hill was one of them. They're still playing Friday.
Well,
against Burns.
Some people were complaining about moving, and there's a couple of different things. I looked at it this way. There is a threat about 70%. It's up 70% for tomorrow night of rain. There's no JVs. If you do have an issue in the playoffs, you don't want to get pushed till Saturday or Monday.
No,
you want to go early.
The officials too.
Yeah, people go see 2 great games this week.
That's what I'm saying. The official pool is so hard right now because there's so many more schools. People talk about there's a lack of officials because nobody wants to do it. I don't think that's true. I see a lot of good people out there. Alger's one of them. That does a lot with I don't think she does football, but she does a tremendous amount of volleyball and basketball.
Yes,
right?
She does.
And especially in football, there are a lot of people that are interested in officiating. The issue is now we have like 10 times the amount of schools that we had 20 years ago because of all private schools. You've got public, all the new public schools that are around, and there's putting a real strain on just availability, right? So, my thing was, I thought, if there truly is an issue and you want to get more experienced officials for your bigger games, then some conferences need to play on Thursday night. And just rotate it. Some on Friday, some on Saturday. People say, "Oh, you never do that." Well, hell, they move games anyway now. What does it matter? Each week, it's almost like they shouldn't schedule games. Say, we're going to play this week and let you know when.
Now, I'm pretty sure.
And I'm not downing because they're moving games. What I'm saying is things are so different because of our ability to navigate and get in touch with people very quickly that, that it kind of makes sense. And if somebody says we've always done it this way and we're not changing – I think that leads to failure in the end because of lack of adaptation, monitor, evaluate, and adjust. So Thursday, Friday, maybe start it like that. Play JV games on Wednesday or
I was
Monday
getting ready
night.
to say, now
Monday
this is 50-plus years ago. Okay?
Right.
When I played JV ball at West Lincoln my 1 year when I was in the 8th grade, I'm almost positive we played JVs at 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
You probably did back then. You probably did.
And
probably did.
And back then, there were very few high school teams that did not have Thursday practice at night under the lights.
Under the lights, right. Yeah, and then you played at 8 o'clock on Friday night.
Right.
Now, again, I'm not down anything. I'm saying that I would not be shocked, if some schools, especially that had a little further to travel, may, decide, hey, look, we're going to play on this Saturday or this Friday. And then schools that are more local and close may decide, hey, we'll get a bigger crowd on Thursday night or Friday because this is a big game. People say that's not true. They won't. Listen, people don't get up and go work in the mill anymore.
Right.
They're not up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right.
I come into the mill.
This is the grind. I can tell you that is the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
I work to the mill.
I walk in there and say, good Lord. But, there's some things that can materialize from this in a positive way that will help some of these younger officials that are trying to get into the game that need to learn the game. We have a lot that never played, that were fans of it, but never played. So there's things about it. Just because there's a hold, if it happens 62 yards over that way and the play's over here, you don't need to throw that flag. Well, it's so hold. It's about the flow of the game.
Just like when a team is up 40-50 and they're still drilling you.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a hold there too.
Then there's a major hold if they run reverse or anything like that.
Yeah, that's coming back.
Yeah.
Jeff Meta said Alder's fantastic. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, she does
Alder
a good
was the platform official in the 4A state volleyball championship game.
I think I saw that. She had a picture, and I think Chrissy, her sister.
And she was East-West official volleyball last summer.
This past, at the clinic, right? They have, Yeah.
So a couple other things that just came in. My wife has to tune in and say things like, but Cannon Page Ford will always be a maiden girl. I will never be a maiden boy, just in case you're keeping score.
Yes,
I just live here.
You're like me.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yes,
you are.
I am West Lincoln by birth, and I am maiden by marriage.
Well, I'm
okay.
East Burke by not by birth, but
long as we can go there.
Navigation.
As long as we can go there, I'm good.
Hey.
Chad said rain all south of us Friday. And Bob, I think the biggest thing, and I hated this, okay?
Yeah.
Biggest thing, school is out because it's Veterans Day.
It is.
It's hard to keep kids focused with that issue as well. A lot of schools or a lot of teams, they'll bring them in on Friday morning. They stay all day.
And
watch
we did
movies
that in
and
the
hang out.
Because it's spread. Like at Maiden, we're not quite as spread out here, right? So you still bring them in, but you bring them in, late morning. do an early lunch, and then you go eat your team meal later. Watch some movies. Talk about a few things. Let them enjoy their time. Whatever, rest, and then.
I hated games on holidays.
But no, I understand that.
Yeah.
And I remember Coach Brown one time had to move a game to a Saturday night, and it was against Burlington Cummings a long time ago in a playoff game, and. He did not like that. Coach Brown liked playing on a school day.
Mm-hmm.
He liked playing on that Friday, or if we didn't play Friday, we're going to play Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm sure there were a lot of games he had to play on Saturday, but he really and of course that's a playoff game, so you're going to play on Saturday instead of Monday. But during the year he did everything he could do.
Richie said
Fridays.
they're in school tomorrow. And, and Richie, I'll give you the picks that were in our pick'em, and I'll tell you who I went with in just
Richie,
a minute.
To Richie's point, there are a lot, like banks and everything are open tomorrow, or at least ours is at Steve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're doing is they're just observing on Saturday, but then in name whatever, but then they pick another day in the year, where they could
flex day kind of,
to be able to do that, and again, it's about recognition. For what it is.
Make sure you observe for what it is.
Yes.
BI said JV in Ohio is Saturday. I know up north JV is Saturday afternoon in high school in the Northeast.
Yeah.
And he said they have freshman ball. If they have freshman ball, it's on the Monday after the varsity
your bigger
game.
cities and bigger outlying areas.
And I'll tell you something else. Some of the private schools in Charlotte, they will play what they call a B team. They've got varsity, they've got JV, and then they've got a B team, which is like their varsity that don't have enough playing time. They'll play those on Saturday because when I was at Highland, we went down and played a game on Saturday morning
100%.
at Country Day.
100%.
Richie said Greenwood High is traveling to Rock Hill, take on Northwestern.
Oh, that's cool.
I think the predictions are around 58-7 for Northwestern. Let me take a break, and then when we come back, I'll give you those picks, Richie, that I did. I have done terrible, but my problem was I got behind at the first of the season. And if you ever get behind, because there's not a lot of variation, and then you have to take some chances and see if you can pick up some stray games.
But you did the Renegade pick early on.
I did.
I do a lot of it. That. No, but you and I talked about that. You said, you know what? You said, I'm going off the reservation, and I'm gonna do these.
Because if I don't, everybody's just there together. So let me take a break, and I'll give you those when we come back.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. All right, let me give you my picks.
It's the unveiling. I got somebody.
And I haven't seen everybody. Before I do that, Richie said Greenwood has long been one of South Carolina's blue bloods. It's odd for them not to be in the championship conversation, but for a long time, Northwestern and Greenwood didn't see each other unless a state title was in the balance.
Yeah.
And I want to say, and I think it's changed now, but back then they had what they called the Big 16. The 16 biggest high schools in South Carolina, they were on a whole different level,
that was cool,
which was really neat. All right, here's the games for this week. Here's the rundown, and I'll tell you what I did. East Lincoln at West Henderson. Okay, that is, and that we had to pick the score on that one. And I picked East Lincoln, and I have done more research this year than usual. Went back, looked at records, and sometimes the records don't really speak to who they played, and so you don't really – they might be 10-0, but they might have 6 pushovers in there, you know. And so I went East Lincoln. I picked East Lincoln to lose last week.
Yeah, I
so
remember
they surprised
that, yeah.
They surprised me. Now, Lincoln travels to Shelby. Some folks say, and I'll tell you, even when I was doing it with Delano and Nate, I never pick against Shelby. Period. I just don't pick against Shelby. Now, Lincoln is playing really good, but it's just hard to pick against Shelby.
And they're very fast, and their kids play hard. They do a great job.
Yeah. West Lincoln travels to Monroe. Got to be honest, I'm a Rebel, but I picked the former Rebels of Monroe.
That's a tough game. Who are they now? Monroe Redhawks?
Redhawks, I think. And I think Monroe may be they may be your Western entry into the state championship. Monroe's pretty darn good in the 2A. North Lincoln at Hickory, that one was a little tough. I went with North Lincoln.
Whoa!
I went off the reservation again.
Boy, you went big
and I picked
time
North
on
Lincoln
that.
to get beat last week.
And let me tell you something. The thing about the Hickory team is, I know those kids, right? Brady Stover can throw the football. That is a major issue for North Lincoln. Now,
Nicky's got him playing
That's what I'm
so
saying.
good.
No.
And the new AG guy, his dad asked to follow me because he watches the show. He's a player.
Now, I'm telling you.
And got a great first name, Landon.
Yeah. the North Lincoln is very, very good and very well coached. You know, it's one of those things we talked about matchups on Tuesday, right? What kind of matchup is this? What did they do early in the year when they played each other? Right? So –
West Lincoln and Maiden were the only teams that I picked to win last week of the 5 local teams. That was the 2 that I picked to win.
Okay.
Let me give you a couple comments that came in. Tyler Sain said Monroe's the best 2A team in state. Okay. Richie said, isn't Hickory undefeated? And they are, Richie. They are.
Yeah,
and they did beat East and North in the season. That's conference. Joe, good morning, Joe, down with the Gazette. Joe says Big 16 always received automatic bids while Little 32 had to jockey for playoff berths. The 5A changed everything, took computers out of the mix. 5A has largely been the Knots and Dutch Fork Invitational. Of course, that's wherever he goes.
That's what it is, man.
Andrew, good morning, said Basel teams play better every week.
They do.
Now, Shelby and Lincoln were always like that too. Shelby could get the dog crap beat out of them the first 3 games, but you had to look at who they played. But it's hard to pick against them late in the season.
You know, not to get anything started early, but Newton has a vacancy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We've kicked around a name. I'll tell you off the air, the name, and I'll tell you why. And you'll go, wow, you may be on to something there. Andrew says Reidsville might be, but not so fast.
Yeah, the Monroe and Reidsville game will be that'll be very interesting.
Joe said North Lincoln is playing outstanding defense in the past month.
Yeah, no, and again, I'm not. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Was it Joe that said that?
Yeah.
He is 100. I follow these guys. A former player of mine, his son is one of the running backs. You know, known Coach Basil since I was a kid. He coached against my dad. You know,
I played against Nick.
Right, and you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And I completely not downing it. It's one of those things that with Hickory and throwing the football, you know, Brady Stober is really, really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be interesting. That may be a game that I end up going to see.
Yeah.
Just because of the two. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Bunker Hill and, you know, Burns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. So.
Now, going through my picks now, Maiden and Salisbury, I think Maiden's going to get out-athleted against Salisbury.
Yeah, I've watched some film.
Yeah.
I think Maiden can go down and win this game.
Burns at Bunker.
Yeah.
I did pick Bunker.
Okay.
High Brighton at West Charlotte. High Brighton season comes to an end. West Charlotte is a 4A team playing 3A football because of size.
Abruptly comes to an end.
Statesville at Crest. That one may be closer than you think, but I did go with the Chargers on that one.
Well, and Crest coach, you know, I follow him on Facebook. Is it Sosby or something?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the things that they did earlier in the year, the fact that they beat – holy cow, they played one of the South Carolina powerhouses early in the year, and people said, oh, they're going to get beat by 50. Crest beat them.
Yeah.
You know, they're very well prepared. He does a lot of things in the summer, you know, 7-on-7, but he also does a lot with the linemen, which is arguably, and this is arguable, but it's arguably more important to make sure that they are in sync than all this other stuff.
Every kid needs the same amount of attention.
I think, well, this is the thing, too. You know, looking at it from a head coaching standpoint and then looking at it from a coordinator standpoint, okay, because I've done all three, right? Well, special teams, 2 to 4. I guess what, you know, when I look at how I'm going to build and help kids develop in the atmosphere that we can, you know, be most successful in, you know, there may be some years where you have experienced linemen where they don't need as much, you know, it's just about repetition and then staying healthy. Then when you have young kids versus, you know, maybe you have bad timing with your, you know, what they call 7-on-7, you know, mesh points, all these things, you know, reading, all of this, route running. And so year to year that could change. But what I see a lot in the 7-on-7 is it's the same thing every year. You know, they don't really get any better in their passing game after season, you know, after game 4 or 5 because they've already maxed out.
Right.
And, you know, when I see a team that does a lot of stuff in the summer 7-on-7 wise, okay, and I mean excessive, that we played against for years, I would not be near as concerned later in the year about them when we played them because they've already shown me because they're almost at peak point at the end of the summer. And they're really not going to get him there because they're going to do what they're going to do. And I noticed with a lot of coaches in 7-on-7, they try to win the 7-on-7 and see how many times they can score instead of developing the player. So, well, I'm just going to do this and just do these routes only so I can score and win the 7-on-7. You know, training
it's about timing and continuity and consistency.
What happens if so-and-so gets hurt?
Yeah. No.
Well, then you get beat in the 3rd or 4th round, right?
Tyler says he thinks that Hickory will out-athlete North Lincoln.
Well, that's not unfair to say, but North Lincoln is kind of like, I believe as Joe said, that defense, they are very disciplined defensively, which is one of the things that Coach Basil has really worked hard on because we all know how good he is from an offensive standpoint. But he has brought that team. It's kind of like Kyle Shanahan when he and Lynch kind of took over the 49ers. You know, everybody talks about offense. They continuitized that defense.
Yeah.
Now, it's not doing – they'll get that fixed. But the point is they really built that team kind of silently on the defensive side. North Lincoln has that feel because we all know what Coach Basil can do with
Mm-hmm.
with what he does and how he does it on offense.
Now, Joe also says he totally agrees and says, is it fair to say Hickory is still underrated as an unbeaten team and Bunker Hill, to be honest? And here's what I say. Here's what I say. I think you're exactly right, Joe, and I think part of it with Bunker Hill is so long since they've been there, even though you've seen them progress to this point. Yeah. It's not like they just popped up. I think that's where Hickory gets a little bit underrated because Joe basically turned them around in a year.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it comes from. Then he mentions Gaffney too. Andrew said, I do have one tip to leave you with for the day. If Clemson's a stock, you better buy all you freaking can buy right now. Okay? I'll go to a mutual fund, Andrew. I'll pass on that big guy. You buy up all you want. You buy up all you want. You and my wife must be in his freaking fan club or something. I don't know what it is.
Oh, God.
That was a stupid thing to say. That's all I'm going to say. Stupid thing to say. But here's the other side. Here's the other side of that. He didn't let me down. He just let that mouth run and just go ahead and step in it and good to go. Let me take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about – we were talking about NFL. Look at the jacket. Look at my jacket. Is my jacket nice? Look at my jacket.
Samuel Phillips is watching us in Avery County right now. He texted me, and he said, Coach, that jacket's pretty cool. So I said, I'm going to show you the inside.
Yeah.
It's got my Stiefel stuff on
See
the
my
inside.
jacket? Look at my jacket. I'll go
those
get
are
my
massive lats.
I'll get my Columbia fleece over there, my old man fleece. Back in a minute.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stiefel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stiefel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome back. We're going to go NFL here for just a second. You were talking about a little bit earlier about players and where things are, and I have contended for a long time. Ooh, I didn't see this right here. This may make a little difference too. There has been a change. NFL teams sent a memo to all 32 teams Wednesday to inform them that juniors who formally declare for April's NFL draft will now be allowed to participate in college football postseason all-star games. Used to, you could not participate. Those that were leaving after 3 years, they couldn't play in those all-star games because they weren't seniors.
Wow.
So the NFL's starting to figure out we've got to change how we do some things. And the reason that I bring that up, and I talked about this yesterday just a little bit. Jeff Meadows says, signing day at the lab today. Congrats to all the talented student athletes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Andrew, he's still playing. Andrew said that's his new tattoo that he got. Joe Hughes says, Andrew, this is one time I'm not buying the tip. Yeah, I like that.
It's tough.
So
I mean, you know, as well as things have gone, it's been tough. You know, it's been a major change.
Yeah.
And people don't like change.
So that's one thing. That's one thing there. But we were talking about before we went on the air about the spring league, the AAF, and that's starting to kind of work itself out. The NFL's embracing it more. I've said this for a long time, and you and I have talked about this. The first thing that needs to happen is the roster needs to expand a little bit more on the NFL.
I agree.
But the other side of that needs to happen is this AFL or AFL, whatever it is, this spring league, XFL, whatever they're going to name the baby, that league needs to be associated with teams for developmental talent. Juju and I were talking about it yesterday, and you've made this point too. Rule changes have been made. Rule changes have been skewed towards the offense. Yes, offense is down. And the biggest problem is that the majority of the NFL teams will not adapt to the college game, and the college game is no longer the feeder that it used to be to the NFL because colleges are doing it totally different. So you've got quarterbacks that don't know how to get under center.
Of course.
You have got linemen that don't know how to run block and how to do the things. So that's why I've said that spring league, that needs to be a training ground. I loved NFL Europe. I thought that was one of the greatest things ever because it was a training league.
100%.
And so until they start doing some of that, because right now the other thing that's killing the NFL is injuries, especially to quarterbacks. But there are some quarterbacks that don't have to come out of a top Power 5 program to be able to compete in the NFL.
Look at the boy from the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, from Shepherd College or Shepherd University.
But you have to understand that is what my point is.
Yes.
About this. The reason that stuff works in college is because you don't have NFL athletes on most defenses. Okay? Your outside linebacker / rush ends, okay, when they are faster, all right, and more athletic than the person throwing the ball or running the ball or catching the ball, there's a problem with the RPO. The concept is great, all right, for a lack of athleticism or that athleticism is equal or less than when you go against it. But it's like that in anything. When Chad Mullis and I used to play basketball against each other, all right, you know, the other players on their team, you know, the great thing that Fred Lanford did coaching basketball, everybody talks about a great baseball coach, and he was a tremendous baseball coach, but he was a great coach. What he did was he created mismatches in certain opportunities. He found out who was guarding who, and then he would create the mismatch. It's the same thing in football. The basketball isolation mentality, all right, of clearing out and letting these two go at it one-on-one, all right, that is what the RPO and in football has happened. That it's not wrong, but when you get to a professional level where all things were equal, the sums are greater than, especially on the other side of the ball, the only way to neutralize speed is to hit it in the mouth. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is why East Duplin beat a Reidsville team that was thousands of times more athletic from top to bottom. Any 11 out there,
yep,
they mashed it in the mouth.
Yep.
Okay? So if you got a friggin' bulldozer, all right, and you got a little jackrabbit down there who's quick as all get out and can run over here really fast. The bulldozer is eventually going to plow through where the quick jackrabbit is. The jackrabbit's got two choices. He can either man up and go get plowed, all right, or he can get out of the way. That is what that is the fundamental understanding that I think is being lacked because of the perceived creativity of, what's going on from an offensive standpoint. Oh, so-and-so's a great play caller. I love going up against guys like that because you do things defensively that they're not used to. You're not lined up where they think you're supposed to, and it freaks them out. Well, that's not the way the rules work. You can't do it that way. Yeah, that's why you suck and I don't. Okay, because there's more than one way to do things.
Yep.
And just because something is an unwritten rule doesn't mean that you always go by it. You think outside the area, or what people call outside the box. There is no great secret to coaching and to strategy. All right? Again, that's why I have a problem with the no shift rule in baseball.
Right.
I have a problem with that. That is strategy.
Well,
and this is the whole point of offense being skewed and still not being any better.
I
think baseball has gotten worse since they put all these new rules in.
The way that we know and remember baseball and appreciate it for what baseball is, I think you're right. The NFL, and here's my thing, that I'm one of these that I'm not big on, well, that's the way we've always done it, so that's what we're going to do.
I hate that.
That's not what I'm saying.
I nearly got fired listening to that.
But the NFL –
probably should have.
The NFL is and should be a different game from college, okay? And everything that works in college won't work in the NFL.
Exactly.
But where the problem is, the NFL is not investing enough time and energy into the players that are coming into the league to help them transition to really a totally different game than what they played in college.
I completely agree.
And you get these first-round, early-round picks that just get thrown in. And now, if you're an exceptional athlete, just one of those phenomenal athletes, you might make that transition. But the ones that they need to fill all these positions that they've got, and that's why they're keeping so many athletes too long with injuries, and they stay banged up all the time.
Well, the other thing, too, is when you get in between the tackles, there's more possibility of injury.
Yep.
And so from a player longevity standpoint, there's been some thought put into it over the years. Let's spread out. That way more people are away from each other, less likely for injury because this is a career. And there's a lot of people who say, well, nobody's going to watch NFL football where they have two backs in the backfield.
I will, all day long.
Well, and they just run isolation. I wonder if now, not picking on, but just making a point, I wonder if the Panthers ran an I backfield or an offset I. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying they should, okay? I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving an example. And that right now they were 7-2. Would the excitement be a little more than Bryce Young can play under center?
Do you remember when Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams
very well
were both over 1,000 yards in the same backfield?
And they had good teams.
Yeah, Thunder and Lightning.
They had a chance to And they had that opportunity with Christian McCaffrey. The problem is they wanted him to be in on every play.
They wanted him to be both backs.
And again, that is a college mindset coming. And now, again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just making a point. There is a reason that some people do really well in NFL football and not college football, and vice versa. What we got to understand is okay to seek opportunity. But if you're not good at something, you shouldn't be awarded a continual stay based on just because, of a fad or trend, right? You should be rewarded or punished, fired, based on your ability to apply the knowledge that you have, obtained and to deliver the message to get people to work together. Okay? This whole thing, like Matt Rule at Nebraska is a great thing. I watch videos on how he conducts practices, what he says to players, how he is exactly where he needs to be. People could, he is a very, very, very good, beneficial, proactive college football coach.
Right.
His NFL, and of course I have issues with with the way things are run at Carolina. Yeah. I have since day one.
But you made a key point in that statement. He's a great college coach. Yes. He doesn't always transition and translate into the NFL.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Saban is a serious person. The reason he left the Dolphins is because he didn't feel like they were serious.
Yeah.
He felt like they just had and if you're an NFL coach, I'm coaching NFL, I get to do this, but you got to look at the organization you're with and saying, are they really doing everything they can do to win a Super Bowl, or are they just there to have a team and make money?
Yeah.
Now, can you win a Super Bowl every year? Laney, the answer is no. That's not what I mean.
Not now.
But you have to be striving for that next great thing to offer that. And until colleges and high schools, figure out long term, what is best, all right, then we're still going to have these issues in the NFL because the high school game, and I don't blame high school coaches or college coaches. I'm not blaming them. What I'm saying is, all that stuff they do works, and that's why they do it.
Everybody's not on the same page. Is what it boils down
the NFL is your defensive side of football is the most important side in every age group. We've seen that with our Little League team. We're sitting at probably 7-2 if early on in the year.
Yeah.
We have we have to play our kids. And I have no problem with that. But we had 2 games early on in the year that got out of hand because of, and I don't mind playing the younger kids. That's not a criticism of them. I was a young kid. I had to learn. We're not playing for the Super Bowl. But there is a difference when you have your best, most prepared players that consistently are out there.
And you know where a lot of that comes from just in the time that I've spent with it this year? It's not a matter of all those kids are not capable. They're just not to that developmental side.
In the head.
Whether it's mentally or physically. They're not there, and it's okay, and they're young. I got a baseball question I got to get to before we get done here. Jeff Meadows first said prayers for Andrew. Thank you, Jeff. Richie said if you want to beat speed and finesse, you hit him in the mouth repeatedly. And then Richie went to Dave Matthews last night, said it was a great show.
Oh, yeah.
I hate I missed the Eagles just to see the Doobie Brothers, but that's another story. He wants your thoughts on the Angels hiring Ron Washington. Going to be sad not seeing him wave runners around third in Atlanta next year. He is also taking Eric Young Sr. with him, so the Braves are losing both base coaches. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting change for them. Obviously, where they're going, there's going to be it'll create some excitement. Atlanta has a pretty good farm system as far as their coaching parts go as well. Not that they will promote from underneath and move up, but it gives them a lot more to choose from to be able to bring quality people in, right? So I think it's time for the Braves to stop winning 100 games and being almost there and take the next step, okay? Ron Washington was not the problem, okay, in that. But sometimes change of things may lead to the next jump just because continuities are different. Now, that's not a criticism. That's just a fact,
Right.
So, Ron, I tell you, he's going to bring a lot of experience. Eric, the senior, is going to really bring a lot with that. And there's going to be some good things happening with where they're going, okay? Atlanta will be fine. They just need to figure out how to take the next step.
Are the Angels a team that's committed to really developing and getting to that? Okay.
They are now because of the move they made.
Because you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you've got
– rely on it.
Yeah.
Now you got to start developing it.
You bring in somebody, and there's really nothing there to build on, and there's no real commitment to build.
That's the problem.
So that's the question.
And Laney, and to answer that question just a little deeper, there's 13 core principles to success. You can lift weights all you want. You can run all you want. You can hit every day. You can train as hard as you want to. None of that matters unless you have core principle number 1, and that is desire. Right? So if you have people
you can't coach that
desire and aspire to be the best they can be, that's an internal drive from the individual that has to be displayed first, right? Because you can't turn somebody's motor on and off. You can motivate them, but it's got to be an internal light that is always ready to fire that engine up and go, okay? That is why, like, when you see, like, training facilities and other things, and they have all these kids that sign, they have the first core principle. All the other stuff will follow once they have the desire to be better. How many times have we all seen in our life, or maybe even been that kid, that was there because my mom and dad wanted us to be there and made us be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could have been a great pianist, right? I didn't like piano. I had no desire. Therefore, the lessons that I was receiving were just dog crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not have, I just didn't have it in me to continue taking those lessons and wasting mom and dad's money. I mean, it was horrible.
Yep.
I hated it. I was a young man that wanted to get out and go and go and go instead of had to sit there and then play with these keys with this older lady that was really nice that hated me because I never practiced.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't like this. Well, you have to practice. I'm sorry. I'm just a guy in life. It's like I told my English teacher in high school. You got 75 note cards due on Monday. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting down and doing 75 note cards. Now, was I wrong? Yeah, I probably should have done them. But I walked up to her and said, what's the least I can do to pass this class? I saw no value in it. Now, my dad helped me see the value in it, later after he found out. And my rear,
That's the way.
Well, you know what I'm saying. But the point is, we make these mistakes as young people only to have that aha moment later and saying this was part of building the foundation. So, you have to explain it. That is what I feel like the Angels are doing, is they're going back to the basics and building their foundation based on this aha moment they got. You got Trout and you got Ohtani.
Follow-up question before we go. Will Ohtani be traded or will
they're going to get rid of him. They're not going to spend that money. They're going to
and sometimes doesn't it make more sense because of what you can do to build the team?
Yeah, and that's in theory, right? But the problem is all of that sounds good because less money's going out, but then you don't reinvest the money accordingly.
Well, then that's what I said. Is the franchise committed to doing
right?
that?
But see, I think they are. But the problem is when you lose one of those key, probably the best player, arguably, right? Around. How do you redistribute that and do the Billy Bean syndrome? Where, we're going to get 3 players to make up for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Baseball is shrinking
Mm-hmm.
in the United States, but expanding globally, right? We see that with a lot of players that, for years have come to the league, but now we see it's more global, right? So, there's potential with that based on what's out there, but the problem that I see, too, is the same benefits that are afforded to players that are not U.S.-based or U.S. citizens, all right, those things that are afforded to them are not done in the same regard for ours.
Right.
Okay, so, if a kid's 16 or 15 from somewhere else, we vet them, but they're getting them here because they're great players. Kid 15, 16, you got to finish school.
Yeah.
We can't. Let me tell you something about that. That day is over.
You got to provide.
That bull crap about, well, you need to get your education because that's the most important thing. Listen, it's the overall experience within the educational process and whatever means that is that allows you to grow and flourish and not be just a worker that gets paid by somebody else's profits.
But to be successful. To be successful.
It doesn't mean that you don't go and everybody should be their own boss.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. But you are in control of your situation. Wouldn't it be great if we stopped listening to politics to get us riled up and fight each other and say, you know what, these are 3 or 4 common principles that we all believe in, and we're not going to let these manipulators do this to us anymore. We're going to take back our country, okay, with some clear thinking. We're so focused on personalities and worried about if somebody's hurting somebody else's feelings or being mean over here, or if somebody's being too kind and being dismissive and passive of inappropriate and deviant behavior, that we end up fighting each other based on that instead of looking at what's really going on. They're both part of the same process that is killing things, right? Without going into politics. I've already dove into it. But the problem with all this is we fall back to, you got to get your education because that's the most important thing. Why do we say that? Because we've heard other people say it. We have no idea what we're saying when we say it.
That's not what I say.
No. And then, well, you got to get a good job. Okay. So you want to go work for somebody, well, there's nothing wrong with that. And somebody's going to pay you with their profits. That's your mindset. If that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't know.
The answer is, from my philosophy, and it was exercised with all of my children because they all have different levels of education.
Exactly.
But they got the education that they desired to do what they wanted to do, to earn a living,
100%.
To go to work every day and not hate it, and be able to be sufficient and be a contributing adult to society instead of a drain.
Way. Exactly.
And that's all. To me, that's how much education you need, because I have a couple of them that kind of get pushed about, you need to do this, you need to get this, and they look at their mother and say, Dad's got 2 pieces of paper on his wall he don't use, I'll just take one of them.
Yeah.
And because, I got them when I needed them for what I wanted to do, and then when I changed my focus.
That's okay. You're still better at what you're doing now because of the training you've had.
That's right.
Look at education as training, right, and the ability
to the end goal.
To apply the information to make you the best person that you can be, self-improvement.
Yep.
Right? That's what it's all about. The same thing in sports. When you train, if you have the desire to be good, then the training stuff that you do is going to take hold and you're going to flourish.
That's right.
It's not because you go do this and you train all the time that you're really good. That is not right.
It's the application of it.
Right, because you had the desire to do it. And the thing about it is, as we get older, our desires change, on what we like to do. The educational process is incredibly important. But I think it's just very broad-based. And when people say, you got to get that, well, what education are you talking about?
The education to allow me to earn a living. That's
right. But what do I need to do that, to acquire those skills, to go out and earn a good life?
Yep.
Right? What is it? Again, there's just so much that goes on. When I ran for council, I put out a post and I said, look, I'm not running against anybody. I'm running for a seat to serve.
Right.
And, the problem is with that, because we're nonpartisan, that works. If I had to run on a Republican, Democrat, or independent ticket or whatever whatever, then you get into the sparring thing with everybody. Mm-hmm. We actually had some of that during the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. What are your points? What are you doing to make things better? Why are you worried about what everybody else is doing?
That's correct.
Okay? Yep. That was probably the most disappointing part of our local campaign to me, was people were focused on what other people did instead of what they can do to be more educated.
I can't do anything about that.
On the situation that happened, and look at, they did this, they did that, this person's going to be bad for this, this person. Listen, talk about what you're going to do and the changes that you're going to bring, and then maybe you get elected.
And how you're going to accomplish it. Well, you can't just talk about the things you want to do. You got to have a plan to get it done, because that's how campaign promises just go away.
And that's where I think the Angels, by hiring Wash and a couple of the other guys that they're going to bring in with them, are trying to maybe revamp that over again. So all this that we just talked about falls back to that. They just they felt the need to go ahead and start that with that experience, and players are going to listen to him. They're going to listen to him because he's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
All right, WLON tonight, 7 o'clock. Lincoln at Shelby. That'll be the game on the air. You can catch it on 1050WLON.com. You can catch it on stream as well. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.